just beautiful.
Millions of signs, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
Police Chief Scott Wall tells reporters between 50 and 100 officers entered the building to search for the alleged attackers.
Our initial officers that got on scene did not engage with the suspects in the parking lot. They began to make entry into the Islamic Center. They observed 3 deceased bodies outside of the center.
Wall adding authorities believe the suspects are teens, 17 and 19 years old, who died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The children at the Islamic Center school were evacuated. President Trump posted earlier today on Truth Social that he's going to hold off on a planned military attack on Iran that was scheduled for tomorrow. This at the request of Gulf states, as the president says, quote, serious negotiations are now taking place. The president adds that he believes a deal will be made and it will include no nuclear weapons for Iran. The latest on the weekend crash that killed 2 adults and injured 2 children in Oakton. There's a female driver traveling at 116 miles per hour in a vehicle leaving Route 66 on the Route 123 overpass. Of the 4 people in the car, including a toddler in the back seat, only an 8-year-old in the back seat was buckled and inappropriately.
We have now 2 fatalities. We're probably going to have 3.
Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis at a somber press conference earlier today. A final budget vote from the Montgomery County Council is expected later this week. That leaves the public school system $36 million short on its FY27 wish list.
The changes we will need to make to close our $36 million gap will be significant.
Superintendent Thomas Taylor warning cuts in jobs and salary increases will be coming.
Those are our 2 main choices for looking at reductions.
Councilmember Will Jawanda wants to shuttle the $36 million from the MCPS capital improvements budget used to keep school buildings up to date. School union officials proclaim the cuts could have been much worse. MCPS gets about half of the county's $7.9 billion budget. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
DC police are looking into a triple shooting in Northeast. Officers were called to the 1700 block of Lincoln Road just before 1 a.m. this morning. That's just by McKinley Tech High School. Upon arrival, officers found 3 men suffering from gunshot wounds, all with non-life-threatening injuries. Checking your money, the Dow finished up 159. The NASDAQ was down 134. Traffic and weather are next.
We are Children's Miracle Network, and we raise funds for 170 local children's hospitals. Make a big change today for kids in your community. Support your local children's hospital with a monthly or one-time gift online. Learn more at cmn.org.
This Mother's Day, make it the year she truly feels celebrated with Goldbelly. The year you surprised her with Ina Garten's coconut cupcakes. The year brunch meant Loveless Cafe's Southern Biscuit Kit. Or an Essa Bagel New York Bagel Spread. The year dessert was Laddery Macarons or Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding. Because with 20% off your first order, sending mom her favorites nationwide has never been easier. Visit goldbelly.com and use promo code MOM for 20% off your first order.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland, and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
It's 6:05. Here's the latest from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
You'll still find heavy traffic on 270 northbound between Old Georgetown Road and Falls Road and between Shady Grove Road and Middlebrook Road, and more delays from 121 towards 109. Also, you will still find accident activity in Poolsville. That's Maryland 107, Whites Ferry Road, both directions between Maryland 109 and Darnestown Road due to an accident. There is still crash activity on DC 295 northbound at Burroughs Avenue, and that is traffic jam from the 11th Street Bridge. Earlier closure in McLean has been cleared up. The Georgetown Pike has been reopened in both directions between the Beltway and Spring Hill Road. Now from GarageForYourCar.com, here's the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
clear tonight down to 72. Sunshine and hot Tuesday, highs up in the mid 90s. Showers likely Wednesday, maybe a thunderstorm or two in the afternoon. 95 the high. Rain likely Thursday. Going to be a lot cooler too. Highs on Thursday only around 70. I'm meteorologist Mark Thibodeau from the Weather Channel on WMAL.
Still 91 degrees in Bowie under sunny skies, 92 in Sterling, 93 at Reagan National. I'm Scott Lynn on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
In the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Welcome. It's still not clear after several hours here what happened at the San Diego Islamic Center. What is known is that 3 adult men were killed there, including a security guard, who they're saying was heroic, and 2 teenagers, one 17, one 19. They were the perpetrators, and they left the location in a car and not too far away. They apparently committed suicide. And we don't know their names. Everybody's curious to know who they are, what their background is. I'm sure the police and the FBI know at this point, and we will be monitoring this throughout the next 3 hours of the program to let you know. So that terrible, terrible incident took place there. The president has decided that we might have a deal coming up at the request of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Military action that he said was to take place tomorrow will not be taking place. And he's informed the Israelis of this. So you can see that the Israelis are a partner to some extent. And Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE urged the president not to unleash. So what does this tell you? Tells you a couple things. First thing is all these disgusting Jew haters who are out there telling you that Israel, Netanyahu, and I control our foreign policy. They're just such scumbags. Obviously, I don't control it, or we'd be done already. And obviously, Israel's chomping at the bit to finish off the regime there. And I'm just feeling bad for the people who live there. They've got to be wondering what's going on. I can't give them too much direction because I'm not sure. And despite all the constant talk about so forth and so on, I have not had a discussion with the president about this, I'd say, for several months. But my views are well known if you listen to this program or you watch my program on Fox. President said, and he issued this, I've been asked by the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, I'm not going to read their names, it's ridiculous, and the President of the UAE to hold off on our planned military attack of the Islamic Republic of Iran, which was scheduled for tomorrow, in that serious negotiations are now taking place, and that, in their opinion, as great leaders and allies, a deal will be made which would be very acceptable to the United States of America, as well as all countries in the Middle East and beyond. Well, how do we know that? This deal will include, importantly, no nuclear weapons for Iran, in caps with exclamation. Based on my respect for the above-mentioned leaders, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Kane, and the United States military, that we will not be doing the scheduled attack of Iran tomorrow, but have further instructed them to be prepared to go forward with a full large-scale assault on Iran on a moment's notice in the event that an acceptable deal is not reached. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, if I say to you, this is another delay, and a ceasefire of 2 weeks has gone on for what, almost 2 months? And yes, I praise the economic chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz and the damage that was done in the early weeks of this war. But if I were to say to you, I really wish we would continue with this and keep the economic pressure on and arm the people there so they could take over the government, or at least knock out the government. And if we bomb in 3 or 4 days, Mark, look, you were just impatient and so forth. And so it's not about being impatient. We have midterm elections coming up. We have gasoline prices that are very high. We have the Democrats who control the media, who are very good at their propaganda. And I'm just concerned that these delays may eventually get us what we want, but that I feel we can get what we want regardless. Regardless. And there's really no way to manage this regime, their ideology, for decades to come. It's not going to happen. I don't care how many people celebrate and cheer. That's just not going to happen. Not because of us, because of them. Well, let me put a footnote on that. And us too, because after Trump, no president will have the will or the desire, unless it's a certain type of president, maybe like a Rubio or DeSantis or Cruz or somebody like that. But otherwise, I don't see it happening. Certainly with the Democrats, we don't see it happening at all. So I'm very concerned about it. And here's the president, cut 22, go.
Can you speak a little bit about your pulse on Truth Social on Iran, and what was the decision, like why you didn't attack it?
Well, other countries have come to me and they've said we were getting ready to do a very major attack tomorrow. I put it off for a little while, hopefully maybe forever, but possibly for a little while, because we've had very big discussions with Iran, and we'll see what they amount to. I was asked by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and some others if we could put it off for 2 or 3 days, a short period of time, because they think that they are getting very close to making a deal. And if we can do that, where there's no nuclear weapon going into the hands of Iran, I think, and if they're satisfied, we will be probably satisfied also. We've informed Israel. We've informed other people in the Middle East that have been involved with us. And, it's a very positive development, but we'll see whether or not it amounts to anything. We've had periods of time where we thought pretty much getting close to making a deal, and it didn't work out, but this is a little bit different. Now, we're ready going tomorrow, very big, and not something I wanted to do, but we have no choice because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Yeah.
We can't allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Is that for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 30 years? And how do we stop them? Well, we'll hit them again. Will we? Once President Trump has left, will we actually hit him again? I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it a lot. But this is the situation. And so it is what it is. But the idea now that I, or Israel, or Netanyahu controls our foreign policy and these decisions is so preposterous. You folks who live in Thomas Massey's district in Kentucky, I know you can hear me. Please make sure you vote tomorrow and vote against him and for Gulrine. Gulrine is a proven American hero. And not only that, he's not one of these sort of weird Don Quixote types. And just so you understand, Nick Fuentes, the racist, the bigot, the Jew hater, the Christian attacker, he has now endorsed Thomas Massie. Marjorie Trader Gangrene, she has endorsed Thomas Massie. Talib has endorsed Thomas Massie. I believe the ACLU political wing has endorsed Thomas Massie. The Democrats were told to stop endorsing Thomas Massie, that this is a Republican primary and that will hurt Massie and help his opponent. Just so you know what's going on out in Washington, D.C., so you know what's going on out there in Kentucky, in his district. The Democrat Party establishment, the Marxists and the Islamists, and the woke right neo-fascists have all come together behind Thomas Massie. Why? Because it's a sure vote for the Democrats, not just on Israel and Iran and foreign policy, but on the tax cuts, on immigration, on a host of other things. On the one hand, he's a braggart about his anarchical viewpoints, radical libertarianism. On the other hand, when you point him out, morons like Ann Coulter and others come to his defense. She's reappeared. Of course she has. Perfect time for her to reappear and join her friends. But you need to know who is backing him. Alex Jones is backing him. He's not around much anymore. Tucker Carlson is backing him. Why? Because now they're fully pro-Democrat Party, fully anti-Trump. If it means embracing a Marxist, they'll embrace a Marxist. If it means embracing a neo-Nazi, they'll embrace a neo-Nazi. If it means embracing whatever they have to embrace, they don't care. This is their mindset. They don't care about our country. They don't care about you, Mr. and Mrs. America. And it is they who will elect Democrats in November should the Democrats win. Make no mistake about it. Their best efforts are projecting onto all of us. It is they who disunite us, and it is they who keep pushing their propaganda and lies about us. They hate our country. They're not America first. They claim to be MAGA, remember? I said, no, they're not. They're fake MAGA. They're not MAGA. And now, of course, they claim not to be MAGA. And they claim MAGA has changed on them, all of you, and the president. Which, of course, is absurd. Absurd. And they're telling people to vote Democrat. Little Adolf Fuentes says he's voting Democrat. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one. But the lie about Israel over and over, and the Jews over and over again, controlling our foreign policy. Notice the president said he informed Israel. He didn't ask their opinion, but he did get the opinion of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. I heard it, which is fine. He can do what he wishes. He's the president. He's the president. I don't happen to agree that Qatar is a great ally and a great friend. In fact, I strongly disagree. They've been destroying our country along with the Communist Chinese. I don't happen to agree that Saudi Arabia is a good friend. When it was behind 9/11, the 25th anniversary, which is almost upon us. The UAE may be a different story. We'll see. They seem to be better, but we'll see. Plus, one of their nuclear production sites, real energy, nuclear energy sites, was hit by a drone from Iran. And yet apparently they, if we're to believe reports, and the other two Arab countries have said, no, we're going to have peace soon, and so forth and so on. I can assure you, anything short of removing this regime, It's not going to last a long time. It'll last through the Trump presidency, but I think that's about it. I'm just telling you. I know how these people think. And by these people, I mean the regime and their scholars and their imams and their professors and their authors, because I've read it. And if you can, get your hands on everything Bernard Lewis has ever written. A tremendous mind and scholar, one of the greatest, who studied Islam for more than half a century, died in his 90s, probably for 60, 70 years. And for a good chunk of that time, he was a professor at Princeton. Bernard Lewis was his name. If you can get a hold of something written by him, by all means, read it. I am very pleased that conservatives, some with platforms, some online, some on radio and so forth, are finally talking about the Marxist Islamist fusion. They're even using that phrase. You heard it here first, of course. We know that as a matter of fact. And others are now finally talking about it. They can say red, green, whatever they want. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And those of you who read On Power, you saw it in there. Those of you who read American Marxism, you saw it in there too. In other words, years ago. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
There was still find crash activity in the district on DC 295 northbound at Burroughs Avenue, blocking the left lane, and traffic is jammed up from the 11th Street Bridge, and also slow going traffic on the BW Parkway northbound between Fort Chen and the Beltway. Southbound is slow from 198 towards Powder Mill Road. 395 still heavy northbound between 110 and the 14th Street Bridge, and the freeway is jammed up between the 14th Street Bridge and the 3rd Street Tunnel. And in Montgomery County, in Poolsville, 107, Maryland 107 still closed between Elgin Road and Maryland 28 due to accident activity. Now from GarageBreaker.com, here's the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Clear tonight, low 72, 60 outside the Beltway. Tomorrow, sunny, hot again, high of 95.
This Mother's Day, make it the year she truly feels celebrated with Gold Belly. The year you surprised her with Ina Garten's coconut cupcakes. The year brunch meant Loveless Cafe's Southern Biscuit Kit. Or an Essa Bagel New York bagel spread. The year dessert was Laddery Macarons or Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding. Because with 20% off your first order, sending mom her favorites nationwide has never been easier. Visit goldbelly.com and use promo code MOM for 20% off your first order.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland, and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
Ready to shine for those last-minute plans? Head to Zoom Tan. Get the sun and sunless experience you deserve with advanced equipment for beautiful, even color fast. Plus, at many locations, enjoy 24/7 member access through the Zoom Tan app, along with advanced wellness like red light therapy and infrared sauna. Now rolling out chain-wide. Red light and infrared wellness support collagen, boost mood, and help you recharge. From tanning to total wellness, it's confidence from every angle. Visit ZoomTan.com to see what's new near you. Zoom Tan. Why be pale and pasty when you can be tan and tasty?
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to apply AI, data science, and other emerging tech, plus gain skills in leadership and critical thinking. You've come far. Succeed again. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Let's get together. Let's thrive together. Talk with your pediatrician today about keeping up or catching up on routine childhood immunization. This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
In times of fear, World Vision is there for the most vulnerable. Through natural disasters, war, and disease, delivering life-saving aid and helping to rebuild lives. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Having low income can mean making tough choices. Choosing between paying for food or medication or a place to live is a reality for many people. Do you know someone who could use some extra help? Find out about the Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI, administered by Social Security. You could receive monthly SSI payments if your income and financial resources are low and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability or who is blind. SSI is money
Donald
you
Trump
can
back in office, one of his biggest adversaries, top Democrat Dick Durbin of Chicago, is leading the charge to derail President Trump's agenda at every turn. And now Senator Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Right now, Americans have thousands of credit card options, all with equal strong security. But Durbin's plan could result in less security. That means more risk for your credit, your identity, and your financial future. So Durbin's bill isn't about helping consumers. It's a giveaway to corporate megastores, which could shift costs onto you while putting your rewards and fraud protections in jeopardy. We've seen Durbin's failed policies before. His last big banking regulation backfired, leading to higher costs and fewer benefits for American families. Tell Republican senators, stop Durbin's government takeover of your credit card before it's too late. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. That's guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of mainstream media. Because the double standard is real. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
I want to jump into the Constitution a little bit today as well. I want to keep trying to touch on some of our history and our greatest documents. 250th anniversary, but of course we've been doing that for 20-some years. Explain this one to me. From Reuters, Pakistan has sent thousands of troops, jet squadrons, to Saudi Arabia during the Iran war. Now remember, this country is supposed to be the mediator between us and Iran. The deployment is described as a substantial combat-capable force intended to support Saudi Arabia's military. The kingdom comes under further attack. Pakistan has deployed 8,000 troops, a squadron of fighter jets, and an air defense system to Saudi Arabia under a mutual defense pact, ramping up military cooperation with Riyadh, even as Islamabad serves as the main mediator in the Iran war. So it's the mediator with Iran and us, which is absurd to begin with. And now it's providing 8,000 troops, fighter jets, and one defense system to the Saudis to protect them from Iran. It's never good for these things to keep going on and on and on. We have a deal, we don't have a deal, we have a deal, we make it a deal. I'm just saying, it's my credit just to end this regime. Folks, if you're turning 65 or you're older, then I know you're like me and getting bombarded with Medicare spam. It's annoying and confusing. Mailers, robocalls, and ads targeted to you everywhere you watch and listen, and they all claim different things. What we need going through this process is real, honest help from someone who's knowledgeable. That's why you need to call Chapter. My friends at Chapter cut through all the confusion and simplify the process. They want to make this stage of your life less stressful, starting with a Medicare plan that actually fits all of your needs. And you don't have to wait until the fall to educate yourself. They look nationwide for your best plan. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword Medicare help. That's pound 250, say Medicare help. And they'll talk through where you are and what the best options are for you. A call with Chapter is free, takes under 20 minutes to get started. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword Medicare help. That's pound 250, say the keyword Medicare help.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WNAL News at 6:30. I'm Scott Lynn. Police say a shooting at a San Diego mosque has killed 3 men and both suspects are dead. San Diego police say both suspects are believed to be teens and the case is considered to be a hate crime. President Trump says he's holding off on a military strike on Iran planned for tomorrow because, quote, serious negotiations are underway. The president made the announcement in social media after threatening the clock was ticking for Iran to strike a deal or fighting would start again. The Justice Department has announced a $1.7 billion compensation fund for allies of the president who believe they were wrongly prosecuted by the Biden administration. Critics argue the fund is unconstitutional and could become a taxpayer-funded slush fund for allies of the president. Traffic and weather are next.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to apply AI, data science, and other emerging tech, plus gain skills in leadership and critical thinking. You've come far. Succeed again. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Imagine having complete clarity about your health, not just test results, but a clear plan built around you. Today, body scans and lab tests are easy to access, but true peace of mind comes from understanding what they mean and what to do next.
At Princeton Longevity Center, we go beyond testing to deliver clarity, strategy, and physician-led care designed to help protect and extend your life.
Our patients work directly with board-certified physicians specializing in preventive and longevity medicine, not algorithms, not generic reports.
But real doctors who understand your history, your risks, and your goals.
Yes, we use advanced imaging and comprehensive diagnostics.
But what truly matters is what comes next.
We interpret the results,
Connect the dots, and deliver a physician-led, personalized plan you can act on with confidence.
because information alone doesn't change outcomes.
Insight does.
At Princeton Longevity Center, your care doesn't end with a test.
It begins there.
Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. That's 888-8000-PLC.
If your patio, sidewalk, or driveway is cracked or uneven, if you've tripped or fallen as a result, or if you're worried about the liability of an uneven surface on your property, American Concrete Services can quickly help. Don't pay the high cost to tear out and replace your sidewalk, patio, driveway, or pool deck. American Concrete Services has an economical solution which can raise and stabilize your existing concrete at a fraction of the cost of full replacement. They're environmentally friendly structural foam. With structural foam lifting, there's no heavy equipment to cause damage to your property and no loud noises from jackhammering. Best of all, most repairs can be completed in just one day. Have your entire patio, sidewalk, or driveway safe and level again. No job is too big or small. Call American Concrete Services now for your free estimate at 240-665-5665. That's 240-665-5665. Again, 240-665-5665. Licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. NHIC 140530.
Making sense of your world.
Talk radio is where I get all of my information.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the border. Because laws either matter or they don't. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Seems so confusing. Mike, we'll be glad to clear that up for you. Call him now at 877-381-3811.
There's a lot going on today. You know, folks,
People are saying Donald Trump is really exercising this kind of power in the Republican Party. And the idea that he went after Cassidy in Louisiana because Cassidy actually voted to remove him from office in that second impeachment. Now, of course, the problem was he was already out of office, but that didn't bother Cassidy, who I never liked, ever. Not because he represented his people, because he didn't. But in any event, now Massey and others, ladies and gentlemen, these are called primaries. Republican primaries. That's the purpose. And yes, presidents want people who are going to vote for their agendas, particularly when you have such a tight majority, 2 or 3 seats. And Massey was a reliable Democrat vote. That's why he's endorsed by so many Democrats now, and that's why they said, cut it out, because we don't want too many people to know. I didn't know Mark Furman passed away. I didn't know Mark Furman. He was 74. Wow. Okay. Nonetheless, presidents have always been involved in primaries as long as there have been political parties with primaries. Franklin Roosevelt was involved in the primaries of his party, going after the so-called moderates or middle roaders to try and replace them with liberals and people loyal to him. In fact, FDR used the IRS and the FBI against publishing companies like the Philadelphia Inquirer. Went after Annenberg to try and put him in prison. Went after other publications. He took the licensing period for these fairly new television stations that were 2 years, and he reduced them to 6 years. And he put his campaign manager in charge of determining who got what license. You get the drift? John Kennedy would share IRS filings of conservative groups he didn't like, and the Getty family with Newsweek and others. LBJ even wiretapped his vice president at that point, wasn't his running mate, Hubert Humphrey, because he wanted to know where he stood on Vietnam. And of course, John Kennedy tapped Martin Luther King's phone, as well as other civil rights leaders. And Johnson tapped their phones at the Democrat convention at the Atlantic City Convention Center, all kinds of stuff. Trump doesn't do any of that. But he does challenge individuals in their primaries and so forth, which is perfectly legitimate. Perfectly legitimate. He wants people who will support his major agenda items, like the SAVE Act, like the big, beautiful bill with the tax cuts, and things like that. And if people are going to go off on their own, and they're from relatively conservative Republican districts, of course he's going to deal with it. I see Rand Paul are out there campaigning for Massey. And of course they're there that it's them versus the Jewish lobby. It is so sick. These people are spreading such hate. They're all out of the closet. They're all out of the closet now. And they are full-throated. And I warned you about these people before. I told you what they were before. These are not red-blooded, America-loving patriots. These are sick bastards. So you're seeing it. You're seeing on the woke right neo-fascists. Why do I call them woke right neo-fascists? Because if you know anything about the late teens, the 20s, the 30s, going into the 40s, 50s, 60s, so forth, about fascist movements in Europe and communist movements in Europe, they were constantly fighting with each other, but they all had an area of agreement. They hated the Jews. They also hated righteous Gentiles, as we say, Christians who stood up for Christianity and said that these ideologies are not Christian, or they would stand up for Jews, they would stand up for themselves. Priests were executed and so forth. It's the same mentality, just different people. Same morons, same thugs. The call by these groups, Islamists and Marxists, for these these attacks in the streets and so forth, they're miniature crystal knocks. That's what they are. That's what they are. Mondami, he's really into these grocery stores, you know. You're going to starve to death in New York if these private grocers leave. I can tell you that right now. You're going to have to go to other states to get your food, like New Jersey and Connecticut and so forth and so on, because if you rely on the government for your food, you're going to starve to death. Folks, they can't even run the city. They can't even run the subway. The Long Island Railroad is shut down, hasn't it, Mr. Producer? They're on strike. It's a disaster. Hochul was negotiating with them, but they want to take over more and more and more. Can you imagine the selection you'll have in their grocery store? Even Mondami talks about eggs and bread. Eggs and bread, okay. You go to a grocery store today, there's like 10 different types of eggs there. You want the organic, you want the brown, you want the extra large, the jumbo, the AAA, the this, the that, right? You go to milk, it's like, oh, almond milk and oatmeal milk and lactose-free milk and no-fat milk and 1% milk and 2% milk and whole milk and, oh yeah, buttermilk and half and cream. It goes on and on and on. You don't see that in government-run groceries. So show me one. How about apples? How many types of apples are there, Mr. Producer? Well, I like this one. I mean, they have so many, like they invented a new one or found a new one. In my area, damn thing tastes great. Really good, really sweet. But they've got all kinds of pears. I mean, it's just endless. We just don't, I think, appreciate what's really available to us, which is unlike any human beings in human history. That's the truth. Any human beings in human history, the kind of food we have, access to food grown in our country, grown in other countries, wines and beers. How many beers are there? You've been to the booze aisle at the grocery store? I don't hang out there myself. Light beer, dark beer, in the middle beer. You know, it's malted beer. I don't even know what the difference is. Well, it doesn't matter. It's just everywhere. The wines, don't get me started with the wines. All different colors, all different tastes, all different parts of America, all different parts of the world. You don't get that anywhere else. Can you imagine a government-run store? What kind of wine you going to get there? The patrons whining about what's going on. That's the kind of wine you'll get. How about bread? My favorite. This bread, that bread, sliced this way, 17 grains, 6 grains, 12 and a half grains. Wheat, oatmeal bread now. Oh, yeah, butter bread, Hawaiian bread, potato bread, potato head. That's a whole other story. Rolls for sliders, for real hamburgers, hot dogs, long hot dogs. Kaiser roll, challah, rye bread with seeds, no seeds. It's like, how about sourdough, organic sourdough with rosemary? Think about all this. So, you know what? I need some butter. Butter? Oh, come over here. I got this butter, that butter, Irish butter. We got all kinds of butter. Land O'Lakes butter. We got butter with oil. We got butter that's fat-free. We got butter that's yellow and green and purple and what? It's unbelievable. Am I right, Mr. Producer? Go to the candy aisle, one of my favorite. Oh, it never ends. And most of these places have bakeries, too. Most of these places have bakeries, too. Kind of food you want. And they have fish. You want little shrimp. You want jumbo shrimp. You want the shrimp peeled. You want it raw. You want it cooked. Say what? Oh, yeah. Then you get this fish, that fish, another fish. You got frozen fish. You got fish sticks. You got fish bites. You got whatever you want.
How about the deli counter? Ooh. They had like 17 types of bologna. You notice that, Rich? Pork and beef. 400 types of cheese. I'm just trying to remind us when this moron goes on about government grocery stores like this. Cut 3, go.
Government can drive change that improves people's lives. And standing here this morning, I cannot help but think of the words of our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. He famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help." It's a good quote, but I disagree. I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, I worked all day and can't feed my family.
Really? And the government stores are going to feed your family. Where does the food come from? The government? No. Where's the packaging come from? The government? No. How about the freezers and the refrigerators? Do they come from the government? No. How about the trucks that bring the food to the store? Do they come from the government? No. Do the drivers work for the government? No. No. So what exactly is a government store? What's a government store? It does absolutely nothing. The city of New York and this Marxist bastard, they do absolutely nothing to create the food, to harvest the food, to package the food, to handle it properly so it doesn't rot. And they bring it to a place where he admits it's going to be privately owned store with the privately owned people helping, but it's a government store. What? Because they slash the prices. That's it. So they take it out of one pocket and they put it in the other pocket. That's all. We've seen starvation under communism. They saw it in Russia. They saw it in Ukraine. They see it now in Cuba. Starvation. Can't get oil out of the ground. In Venezuela, we saw what happened with the communists. It's ridiculous. Enormous amounts of oil. Can't get it out of the ground. Do you know why Obama used to say, and all the commies say, you know, we're 3% of the world's population, whatever it is, 5% of the world's population, but we use 25% of its resources. And we're supposed to say, that's horrible. Look how we're stealing it from the poor. That's not it. We're an advanced economic system. We actually can do things with resources that other countries, the vast majority of the world, can't do. And we produce most of the resources that those parts of the world can't produce and either give it to them or sell it to them. That is an acknowledgement of the great success of the commerce system, aka capitalism. Don't you think if government-owned, quote-unquote, grocery stores worked, that they would have been in place by now, all over the place? Of course. You got a guy who's now 35, who's never worked a day in his life, was raised by millionaire Marxist Islamist parents in Uganda and then in the United States. And you notice how everything's supposed to work. This guy, Ken Griffin, he's worth about $50 billion, they say, and I read. He's going to pick up and move everything to Florida. And you know what Mondami said? Too bad, I'm going to tax the rich. Want to know why? Because he is the rich, and they're going to get a lot of food, and they're not going to get it from government-run grocery stores. They're going to get it from supermarkets. Supermarkets. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
WMAL listeners, join me, Vince Colonnese, as we celebrate the grand opening of the new Bourbon Boulevard Reserve at the Dulles Town Center. This WMAL listener grand opening party will be on Wednesday, May 20th, starting at 6 p.m. Enjoy a great steak and handcrafted drink that Bourbon Boulevard Reserve is known for. Plus, mingle with me and fellow WMAL listeners. Secure your table online at bbsteaks.com. That's bbsteaks.com. bbsteaks.com.
The accident on DC 295 northbound at Burroughs Avenue has now been cleared, but traffic still extremely slow due to the earlier accident between the 11th Street Bridge and East Capitol Street. Now on the southbound side, a disabled vehicle reported after East Capitol Street, which is causing delays from Burroughs Avenue. Also, you'll still find delays on 395 northbound between 110 and the 14th Street Bridge. Freeway itself is still heavy between the 14th Street Bridge and the 3rd Street Tunnel. And in Newington, you'll still find delays on 95 southbound between the Fairfax County Parkway and 123 in Woodbridge. Now from GarageRepair.com, here's a WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Clear tonight, low of 72, 60s outside the Beltway. Tomorrow, sunny, hot again, high of 95.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland, and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
The age of doom, Algebra 2! Who will step up to his challenge?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college. Find out which classes you need at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
How much is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness really worth to you? That's the question America's founders had to answer. For more than 150 years, the 13 colonies governed themselves, until Britain suddenly declared they had no right to self-rule. Ordinary people were forced to make extraordinary decisions, risking...
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland, and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
Making sense of your world. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
This is a major wake-up call.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of party politics. Because somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
When I say the phrase electoral college, don't your eyes kind of roll over? Electoral college. Good Lord, Mark. How many people can discuss with you the electoral college? This is how we elect our presidents. Do you know why we have an electoral college? If you watch TV, you won't have any idea. If you went to public school, you don't have any idea. If you went to college or university, you don't have any idea. What is that all about? Why did they make it so complicated? Would you like to be the first person on your block to know about this, Mr. Producer? He says, sure. Where's my steak sandwich? Anyway, I'm going to delve into that. I did on the podcast too, but I want to delve in it on radio a little bit more deeply as well. That was just one of the subjects we hit on the podcast. In 2025, global gold demand blew past 5,000 tons, hit a record $555 billion in value. So instead of scaring buyers away, it pulled in more buyers. Now, many central banks are quietly
diversifying away from the dollar, adding hundreds of tons to their own reserves. Again, putting pressure on supply. Large institutions poured in the second biggest inflow on record. And bar and coin demand hit a 12-year high. Meanwhile, on the supply side, demand is very high. Mine supply grew just 1%. New gold can't be printed. The recent report said it plainly. Gold demand just broke a record. Supply cannot keep up. Okay. For retirees, if you're retired, that means your traditional stock and bond mix has fewer safe places to hide. So what do? It's called diversification. That's what the big guys do. Smart. The biggest players are locking up a scarce asset, while some people are still sitting on, paper, stocks, bonds, and so forth. Again, I'm not saying burn it all, but diversification is the way, the strategy. And that's why I recommend Monetary Gold. They're the best. 26 years in the business, so no fly-by-night. Over 50,000 clients, A+ Better Business Bureau rating, 0 unresolved complaints. Hello, 0 unresolved complaints, and every fee is disclosed before you spend 1 penny. You know what that's called? Ethics. They have business ethics. Very important. I want you to call Monetary Gold right now and get your free gold and silver guide. Again, that's very important too, so you know and have a working knowledge of how this works. A free gold and silver guide. Call Monetary Gold at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Or visit marklovesgold.com, marklovesgold.com. Get your complimentary gold and silver guide. Again, 877-NOW-GOLD. Call them right now. Or visit marklovesgold.com before the rest of the world finishes buying what's left. Performance varies. Always consult your financial and tax professional. And I might add as a footnote, as the debt goes up, and it's going to keep going up, we're in a debt spiral as a nation. So you got to protect your finances. That's why diversification matters. And as the debt goes up, the value of gold has been going up too. That's the trajectory. Same with silver. I'll be right back.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
Chris Plant here. Tired of dating online and want to meet real people face to face? Let the professional matchmakers at It's Just Lunch help. After a confidential interview, your personal matchmaker hand selects quality matches for you. They pre-screen every date and they'll book your reservations at the best spots in town. All you have to do is show up and be yourself. Let It's Just Lunch help you turn new beginnings into lasting connections. Call 202-466-4333 or visit itsjustlunchdc.com.
Join me, Vince Colonnese, Wednesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. for our WMAL listener grand opening party at the new Bourbon Boulevard Reserve at Dulles Town Center. Book your table at bbsteaks.com. That's bbsteaks.com.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. Good evening. I'm Scott Lynn. President Trump called off a planned attack on Iran, but the country is still under economic pressure.
A drone strike hit close to a nuclear power plant over the weekend west of Abu Dhabi. No damage or injuries reported, but the UAE, who didn't identify a potential attacker, calls it a dangerous escalation. In Tehran, Iran's president says it is time to be honest about the toll that the war has had on his country, saying Iran faces serious challenges. Prices of goods have skyrocketed and local business owners have had no access to the internet for months. The U.S. says Iranian leaders are responsible for the economic misery in their country, using money to fund terrorist groups instead. For the Iranian people, relief will not likely come soon.
Fox's Ashley Webster. Police allege a hate crime after 2 suspects opened fire, killing 3 at the Islamic Center of San Diego today.
What we know from San Diego police and the FBI right now is that 2 teenage suspects opened fire at the Islamic Center of San Diego. The teenagers, believed to be 17 and 19, then drove away from the scene and were found dead in their vehicle. Police arrived on scene within minutes of the first 911 calls and found 3 victims, all men, outside the mosque near its entrance. Heavily armed police officers immediately began searching the buildings on the property, including a school that serves pre-K to 3rd grade students, who were then led away by police holding rifles.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. One of the victims is a security guard who exchanged fire with the suspects. New details on the car wreck over the weekend in Oakton that killed 2 adults and injured 2 children. The early Sunday incident happened as the vehicle left Route 66 to get off at 123. The driver was doing 116 miles per hour. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis.
Car traveled up the exit ramp, the express exit ramp, and entered onto 123. It struck the median and then came to rest when it collided very violently with the bridge wall on the other side of the roadway.
The deceased are a 30-year-old female who was behind the wheel and a 27-year-old male who was a front seat passenger. In the back seat, an improperly buckled 8-year-old and, like the adults, a 2-year-old who was totally without a seatbelt. Police do also believe that one of the children may not survive the accident. In response to teen takeovers in the district, U.S. Attorney for D.C. Janine Pirro is cracking down on the chaos. She addressed the destruction and how she plans to bring about consequences.
If you think that being a teen gives you a pass to terrorize businesses and neighborhoods, you're about to find out otherwise. We will arrest you, and where we can, we will prosecute you aggressively, and we will prosecute your parents.
A gun and notebook that prosecutors say linked Luigi Mangione to the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson can be used as evidence in his murder trial. The judge's ruling partially rejects a defense argument that those items were seized illegally before a search warrant was obtained. Traffic and weather are next.
How did I lose weight? And I did. Lean right here. I did. I love this stuff. Listen, Brickhouse Nutrition been with me for a long time. So I'm chatting with Miles. I'm up at like 235. True story. I never minded being 235, but you know what minded? My knees that were falling apart and my back. I'm like, I don't know what, before I started really lifting, probably about 190. So 235 was a lot. I said, I got to lose some LBs, Miles. He said, Dan, we're going to stick our team of docs and researchers on it. We're going to get you a really good product because I don't want to take a lot of these needles and stuff. You know what he did? He got lean. He got lean, I got lean, using lean, LEA, and the product works. Me and Paula both use it. I'm now down about 200, 202. Losing weight's a pain. I've been there. You look in the mirror, you're getting a little gooey as you get older. No good. Brickhouse Nutrition is one of the best products out there. It works like most of these GLP-1s. Also, those weight loss injections. They help control blood sugar and curb appetite so you eat less. There's really no mystery to how they work. But that's what lean was created to do without the needles, but it replicates the benefits of these injections. Lean supports healthy blood sugar, helps reduce spikes and cravings. It drives snacking and cravings. I'm telling you, I can vouch for it and use it myself. Get healthier, lose those unnecessary pounds. Right? Lean goes a step further. Helps your body burn fat, turn it into energy instead of storing it. No prescriptions, no needles. You've been thinking about losing weight. Let's go. No more wasted time. Try it today. Just give it a shot. I'm not confident it's going to work for you. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use promo code Dan, my first name, for 20% off. Paula just bought some of this last night. Want some nutrition? BrickHouseNutrition.com/Dan, promo code Dan. Pick up your bottle of lean today. Give it a shot. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It's not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. Thank you, Brickhouse Nutrition. Give it a shot.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Coming up on 7:05, here is the latest from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
The disabled vehicle on DC 295 southbound after East Capitol Street clear, but traffic still slow from Burroughs Avenue. Northbound, the accident cleared as well, but traffic still very heavy from the 11th Street Bridge over towards Pennsylvania Avenue. You will still find some slowing traffic right now on the inner loop of the Beltway between 123 and the Clara Barton Parkway, and between Georgia Avenue and New Hampshire Avenue. Outer loop still heavy from Van Dorn Street to the Wilson Bridge. In Poolsville, Maryland 107, Whites Ferry Road remains closed in both directions between Maryland 109 and Dornstad Road due to a long-standing accident. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, here's the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Clear tonight with 72, sunny and hot again on Tuesday, 96 degrees. The high average highs more like around 80. Wednesday showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. Still pretty hot and humid, mid-90s for the high. Much, much cooler Thursday with rain possible and highs around 70. I'm meteorologist Mark Thibodeau from the Weather Channel on WMAL.
Still warm out there, 91 degrees in Sterling, 87 degrees in Bowie, 91 degrees at Reagan National. I'm Scott Lynn on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
From the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
We have no update for you. The San Diego Islamic Center. We don't have the names of the 17-year-old and 19-year-old who killed the 3 people. One of them a security guard, 2 other men, and then murdered themselves. Committed suicide. We don't have anything else. Isn't that weird, Rich? It's so weird. And we're going to have a guest in about 10 minutes. Senator Dave McCormick. Now, full disclosure, Dave McCormick and his wonderful wife are very good friends with me and my wife. We've come to really adore them. They're very, very nice people. He's doing a hell of a job for the state of Pennsylvania. I believe she's doing a great job for Google. All I know is, I meant Meta. What did I say? Google? Meta. And what's Meta? Facebook, right? Who owns Facebook? Zuckerberg. So Zuckerberg owns Facebook. He owns Meta. Then you got a couple of guys that own Google. Is Google bigger than all of them? I know they're different. I guess once you've hit about 5 or 10 billion, it really doesn't matter. But nonetheless, these are fantastic people. They really are. And he's a great senator. He's very, very friendly with Fetterman. The 2 of them are very close. And you can see why. I mean, poor Fetterman's out there on his own, really. Now, I have to admit, I don't agree with him on 90% of this stuff, but this guy Gottheimer, isn't that how you pronounce it, Mr. Producer? Gottheimer. I'm liking him more. Don't get me wrong. Don't get nervous, Republicans up there in Northern New Jersey. I got it. But the guy's got some guts. He's taken on his party. Like Moskowitz is, from Florida. He's taken on his party. And I bumped into him at the White House at the Hanukkah party. Boy, am I being stereotypical or what, Rich? But nonetheless, he was a very good guy. And he's a fairly moderate Democrat as far as Democrats go. It's not like these Bernie Sanders types. So I wanted to point that out too. Uh-oh. Let me see. I don't know if let me do the Electoral College.
Man, you guys are just fucked up. You know that?
So I can go through it. Thank God.
I wish one of you would show up at my door.
Like, this is, first of all,
especially you, Alpesh.
This is my strength. Not the Electoral
I'd love to
College.
arm wrestle you,
Every
Alpesh.
single word in the Constitution. You're in the right place at the right time.
Fucking idiots.
Every single word in the Declaration.
Bring it.
You're in the right place.
So I'm just going to time you out. You get fucking belligerent with
There's not
me.
a host that knows more about those.
Yeah, I don't know who
documents.
you
They're just
are.
behind
Shine
them,
on.
men behind them. The Revolutionary War, the pre-Revolutionary War,
Fucking
technically,
idiots.
post-Revolutionary War. You're in the right place. We're going to continue to share that information with you, as I have really throughout my career. But I want you to really understand the Electoral College, why it's so important, and why the Democrats are hell-bent on destroying it. So we'll save that for hour 3, I think. That'll just whet your appetite. Oh, Mark, come on. Seriously. Do things a little differently here, and people always come up to me, and they're very, very happy that we do. So Mondami's announcing his first city-owned grocery store. Yes, we're back at that in the Bronx today. Here we go. Cut 4, go.
It is going to be a 20,000 square foot location, and its ambition is perfectly placed at the peninsula, which will house 740 units of 100% affordable housing by the time that it's fully built. And as we heard from Jeannie...
You know, we call that public housing. That's never been tried before, has it, Rich? And they're just beautiful until the people who get it for free destroy it because they don't have any investments in the place. They just figure it's theirs. Mayor gave it to them, stole money from somebody else. So you're going to have free housing and free food. How long can that last? And the only way he's going to be able to do any of that is because of what, America? Capitalism. Who's going to build the housing? We're going to get bureaucrats out of the Department of Widgets? No, I don't think so. Capitalism makes socialism possible. Don't get me wrong. Socialism is anti-capitalism, and it is destructive of capitalism. But without the products, the technology, the material, the techniques, and on and on and on, created by commerce, the market system, capitalism, there could be no socialism. There's nothing to redistribute. And that's what they find out. When you smother successful people, you destroy the innovation, you destroy the motivation, you destroy capital investment and R&D and all the rest. What do you get? Cuba. Poverty. And these aren't theories that I'm giving you. They're realities with real human beings. And then when people get hungry and they get angry, what do you get next? Martial law. A police state. You lose your civil liberties because you exist for the government. Let me ask you a question. I'm serious about this. He's opening these government stores, right? Has he asked the potential customers what they want? Has he? What do you want in your government stores? He could care less. It's going to be this, and that's it. And he knows there's enough private stores that will fill in the gaps. But 100% affordable housing, 740 units. How many people live in and around New York? I know they're fleeing by the bunch, but about 8 million, give or take, Rich, something like that. She's going to have 740 free housing units. How far is that going to go? It's so stupid. This guy's such a moron. And we have actresses and actors at the premiere of the anti-capitalist film I Love Boosters. They were there last week, going on about how capitalism is the greatest evil on earth. Hat tip Refinery 29 on X. Listen to this one. Cut 5, go.
Thing that annoys you the most about capitalism? Oh my God. Where do I start? The only people that really benefit are the top 0.003%.
Agreed. It's very simple. It's just way too imbalanced. There's no way you need to have all that damn money and people out here and can't eat.
Capitalism is a system of evil that is oppressing all of us in a hamster race in which the majority of people cannot win. How do you figure out?
How do we birth such stupid people? Seriously. Incredibly stupid. There they are in their gowns and their expensive suits and shoes. They have their hairdos. They, prim and proper, and they're coming out of hotels, $1,200 a night, or they're coming out of their apartments, 4, 5, 7 million, whatever it is, getting out of their expensive cars, and they're just trashing the system that provided them. Is there anything more useless than an actor and an actress? I'm just being honest. What do they create? Entertainment. Okay, but they don't create life and death stuff. They don't. I'm just saying. And so for them, it's like they don't know how you can get a pencil. They don't know how you create anything. And you got to listen to this crap. How wonderful government is. If I had my way, they'd all have to spend 1 month. 1 month, that's all, in North Korea. See how that works out. I have a better idea. They so love it. 1 month in Gaza with their Hamas friends. Or in the part of Lebanon controlled by Hezbollah. Let's see if they even get out. Go ahead.
Capitalism work for everyone when you kind of need someone to be poor for someone to be rich. I don't know.
Actually, you don't need somebody to be poor for somebody to be rich. Actually, you don't. That's not how it works. You're an ignoramus in all languages. Go ahead.
You think that putting other people down is the only way that you can win?
What?
Okay, well, we're in late stage capitalism, so if you don't love it, it's almost over.
The unfairness of the entire system. The idea that we can't all win together, I hate that. That's what comes from this all. No, because we can. Why not? Oh, like currency is made up. Credit is made up. Debt is made up. Why do people have student debt?
Why are we all grinding? Why are we all working so hard to make money for who? Who is this for?
My mind is that capitalism is the greatest evil in the world. Like the people that are like, oh, but like, don't you enjoy the nice things?
Don't they all sound like Valley Girls or something, right? Capitalism is in the final stages, said another genius. Socialism is so great. They want to go to the best restaurants. They want to be the first at the hottest plays. They want to get cool cars, the newest iPhone. This is sick. These people are nuts. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Hey guys, if you're looking for the perfect Mother's Day gift, listen up. Goldbelly ships America's most legendary foods from iconic restaurants and chefs nationwide. So treat mom to Ina Garten's coconut cupcakes, Joe's stone crab dinner kits from Miami, or a New York bagel brunch. You can even send Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding or classic Ladurée macarons. Make Mother's Day unforgettable with flavors she loves, delivered anywhere in the country. Visit goldbelly.com and use promo code MOM for 20% off your first order.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland, and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
I want you to go to American Financing today if you have problems with your debt. A lot of Americans, in fact, more than ever, carry credit card debt, and those usury rates are immoral and illegal. Rates of 20 and 30% are meant to lock you in slavery, debt slavery for life. That's a very bad way to live. Get out of that debt slavery. Go to American Financing today. America's home for home loans at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/betting.
When we talk about Israel, we're not just talking about a place. We're talking about a people connected to a promise made by God, one he has never broken, and one that continues even today. Because God's character doesn't change. What he begins, he sustains. What he promises, he fulfills. Right now in Israel, families run to shelters as sirens sound. This isn't just a crisis, it's a call to respond. For Christians, caring for the Jewish people isn't rooted in politics. It's rooted in trust in God who keeps his word. So we don't stay distant. We step in with prayer and practical help. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground, bringing food, caring for the vulnerable, reminding people they're not alone. This is what it looks like to align our hearts with God's, to pray, to show up, to care. Join the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in praying for the peace of Jerusalem and for the people who need it right now. Visit levinforthefellowship.org. That's LEVIN for thefellowship.org.
Making sense of your world. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the economy because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
It's a pleasure to have Dave McCormick on, Senator from Pennsylvania. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Doing great. How's the wife?
Oh, she's, I can't keep up with her. She's running all over God's creations, but she's doing a great job, and I'm real proud of her. You know, I'm still known around town as Dina Powell's husband.
Well, I know the feeling. Not that I'm Dina Powell's husband, Julie Strauss's husband. You understand what
I sure do.
So, Senator, you and Fetterman are pretty close, aren't you? Quite friendly?
We are. You know, he campaigned against me, and I didn't know him at all. I didn't know what to expect. And we met for the first time during the campaign at the 5-year anniversary of the Tree of Life. And we both live in Pittsburgh. I live in Squirrel Hill, right around the corner from the Tree of Life. And we shared words. And then after the campaign, I went to see him, and we sat down and talked. And you know, I think this near-death experience, Mark, with almost losing his life with that stroke, he said, "Listen, I don't have any appetite for the nonsense." He said, "Let's look for ways to help Pennsylvania together. Where we disagree, we'll disagree thoughtfully and just move on." And he has become a good friend. I really trust him and like him. And he's been, as you know, an incredibly strong voice for America's strength in the world, a supporter of Israel, and the strongest voice against anti-Semitism. And he and I have found a lot of common ground on those topics.
And you know, he gave me his number, and I don't talk to him all the time, but every now and then. He's really quite down to earth, isn't he?
Oh yeah, no, he's just what he thinks he says, and he is unwilling to bend. He's unwilling to yield to the lunatics that are growing in influence in his party. And he is. He always says to me, he makes it clear. He said, "I'm the senior senator from Pennsylvania," and he's just willing to speak out. And people ask me, "What's he going to do? Is he going to be a Democrat or Republican?" I've never asked him. All I know is that of the 50 states, I bet that we have one of the closest relationships. And even though we're from different parties and we disagree on a lot of things, we found a good path forward.
So we have another pause with Iran. I suspect it's not going to last forever, but you never know. What do you make of all this?
Well, first, I think people get lost in this. That you see the media and the rhetoric. We just have to start with what has occurred. Right. Number one, this is a regime that is the biggest sponsor state terror, killed more Americans than any other regime, was seeking a nuclear weapon, had said it wanted to kill the great Satan. After Midnight Hammer, what happened? They went back to rebuilding their ballistic missile program, and they were restarting their nuclear program. And so this just couldn't stand. President Trump, in his term, Iran was going to have a ballistic missile capable of delivering a nuclear weapon into the United States. That is the reality. And they said they didn't have a ballistic missile that was capable. And then we saw them land a missile in Diego Garcia, 2,500 miles. So they were on that path. That's the first point. Second point, the campaign. We're in a new phase here. The first phase was by any measure wildly successful at destroying their missiles, their drones, their launchers, their manufacturing capability. You know, people are questioning the success of this. I was in the first Gulf War, which was said at the time, Mark, as you recall, this is the greatest, most successful war ever. That was 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, we lost 90 aircraft. There were 200 Americans killed in action, including 7 of them that were from my unit. There were another 200 or 300 that were killed in training and in accidents. And there were another 300 or 400 that were severely wounded. And that was the most successful war. Well, this has been, by any measure, far more effective as a military campaign than that. But now we're at phase 2. And we have to achieve the objectives, which is we've got to have the Iranians give up their enriched uranium, give up a path to a nuclear weapon, and the strait has to be open. And, you know, I think President Trump, in his heart, truly hopes that there was a peaceful path. I think we all know that we trust anything the Iranians would say, but I think he would wait for an off-ramp, and they have again and again duplicity, lying, an unwillingness to yield. And so, unfortunately, we're going to have to go to another chapter of using our military capability to accomplish those objectives. But I think the bottom line is, and I think the president's clear on this, we cannot have another path to a nuclear weapon, and we're going to have to solve that one way or the other.
Pardon me. Helps if I turn the mic on. Why do you think the Democrats, almost to a man or woman, are so outspoken in very nasty ways about what the president's trying to do here? I mean, it seems so commonsensical to me.
Well, I think a couple things. I mean, there's an enormous hypocrisy. The Democrats have been saying for decades Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Now confronted with the reality that they were on a path to a nuclear weapon, and a leader who for the first time is willing to have the courage to go take that capability away, they're doing a couple things. They're first of all saying that they can't, and lying, the campaign's not been effective. Second, it's almost like they're wishing for the president and America to fail. And, on my worst day, Mark, I certainly was no fan of President Biden or President Obama. I disagree with many of the things, but I certainly never wished for America to fail. I never wished for the president to fail. That's un-American. It's unpatriotic. And so I think this Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. And I think anything he does, they want it to fail. But in this case, this isn't like, a change in the tax code. This is existential. If we fail at this and Iran gets a nuclear weapon, then we know what they're going to do with it because they've told us. And that's why it's baffling to me, too. I also think it reflects it's not a fringe. I think the mainstream of the Democratic Party is anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. And, you can't be someone who's pro-Israel and survive in the Democratic Party today. And, my friend John Fetterman is suffering the wrath of the lefties because of that.
I want to touch on that a little bit more when we return, Senator. And also, you've introduced the Unlock American Energy and Jobs Act. I want to get into that, too. We'll be right back with the great Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick.
WMAL.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds. You can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Against all odds, America's founders built one of the most stable and lasting republics in history. Hillsdale College presents American Revolution like never before. Revolutionary America, a new documentary from Hillsdale Studios, narrated by Tom Selleck, brings the founding of our nation to life through the voices of those who lived it and the insights from leading scholars and commentators. Revolutionary America, a film from Hillsdale Studios by Hillsdale College, only in theaters May 31st through June 2nd. Get tickets now at hillsdale.edu/revolution.
In Riverdale, the northbound side of the BW Parkway is slow from 450 to the Good Luck Road overpass. In Greenbelt on the northbound side of the BW, slow from NASA Goddard to Powder Mill. On 95 southbound of Calverton, stop and go from the ICC to the Beltway. On the Beltway, inner loop in Cabin John, you'll find it slow between the Clairemont Parkway and the 270 Spur. And then in Silver Spring, the inner loop of the Beltway is stop and go from Colesville Road to New Hampshire Avenue. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Clear tonight, low 72, 60s outside the Beltway. Tomorrow, sunny, high again, high 95.
It's Vince for Artisan Movers. As a military brat, I remember my parents stressed every time we moved, worried something would break because some movers treated our stuff like junk. It was always stressful. That's why today, whether you're moving across town or across the country, I recommend Artisan Movers, a local family-owned business founded by Mark Lewandowski. He's a proud Terp fan, having graduated from the University of Maryland and hardworking all-American guy. Mark built Artisan Movers on the vision of giving his customers honest, dependable, high-quality, stress-free moving services. Artisan Movers provides you with local and long-distance moves, storage, and even white glove service, meaning they'll pack and unpack everything in your home or office. You don't lift a finger. They'll do it all with care, professionalism, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get with the big chains. Honest, careful, and professional. That's the Artisan way. So for your next move, trust Artisan Movers. Free quotes and WMAL listener discounts are available. Call 240-600-0998. That's 240-600-0998. Or visit artisanmovers.com.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHAP.
If you are in need of a roof replacement before the summer rainstorms hit, well, honor, respect, and trust your home with Valor. Hey, it's Vince for Valor Home. And unfortunately, some unscrupulous home improvement companies are claiming to be Valor Home. But there's only one Valor I trust. Don't be fooled by the imposters online. Go directly to valorhome.com and look for Valor's signature patriotic logo. Or call 833-83-VALOR. Tell them Vince sent you.
833-83-VALOR.
Not planning today can cost you tomorrow. Stop worrying and start planning with Trajan Wealth. Contact Trajan today at 202-750-3300 or go to TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Imagine having complete clarity about your health, not just test results, but a clear plan built around you. Today, body scans and lab tests are easy to access, but true peace of mind comes from understanding what they mean and what to do next.
At Princeton Longevity Center, we go beyond testing to deliver clarity, strategy, and physician-led care designed to help protect and extend your life.
Our patients work directly with board-certified physicians specializing in preventive and longevity medicine, not algorithms, not generic reports.
But real doctors who understand your history, your risks, and your goals.
Yes, we use advanced imaging and comprehensive diagnostics.
But what truly matters is what comes next.
We interpret the results,
Connect the dots, and deliver a physician-led, personalized plan you can act on with confidence.
because information alone doesn't change outcomes.
Insight does.
At Princeton Longevity Center, your care doesn't end with the test.
It begins there.
Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. That's 888-8000-PLC.
Making sense of your world.
I don't know where to begin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Thanks for taking my call.
Making sense of the news. WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Mark the pen. The thunder on the right. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
They're the great Pennsylvania Senator, Dave McCormick. Iran and China. China didn't seem to be all that worked up about Iran, did they? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was not sure what we'd see out of the summit either. I think this is one of those areas where, posturing notwithstanding, we're very aligned. The United States cannot tolerate Iran with a nuclear weapon. China doesn't want Iran with a nuclear weapon. The difference between the United States and China, however, is that the United States, under Trump's leadership, is energy dominant. We don't need the Strait of Hormuz, nor do we need Iran to be energy dominant. We have more energy than we use. China is highly dependent on Iran. So China wants the Strait open as well. So President Trump said, I don't need any help. My reading of that was, listen, he knows that China needs this as much, if not more, than we do in terms of opening up the Strait, and that there's leverage there for us. And so I thought that was an interesting development. And, when you're dealing with President Trump, he's negotiating on a lot of different levels at the same time. But my sense of that was China is going to be helpful. And the reason being is it's in their interest to do so. And they're suffering all sorts of economic jeopardy because of what's happening in the Middle East right now.
And also the military, at least at the highest levels. I mean, he's kind of blown that out, hasn't he? That reconstituted?
Yeah, he's taken up on a couple of different generations of military leadership. Listen, I think this always happens in sports too. This always happened to me on the wrestling mat. You walk out there and you see the best side of your adversary, the best side of your opponent. In many people's minds here, China is an 800-pound gorilla. China is a real adversary. We should not take anything China does lightly. But China has all sorts of problems. China has problems with its economy, which is heavily subsidized. It's not an innovation economy, and it's trying to bring hundreds of millions of people out of horrible, abject poverty. We in the United States have all the tools to win in any sort of war or competition with China, but it depends on what we do. We have to do the things that ensure America's ongoing innovation, ongoing leadership in its military, ongoing health of its democracy. So the future of this competition with China is in our hands more than what China does. And I think the president knows that. And that's why you're seeing all this focus on bringing home the basic core of advanced manufacturing, of semiconductors, all the things that we need here in America to chart our future. And I think China's got more struggles, more challenges than people realize.
In Taiwan, I mean, we can't just surrender Taiwan for a multitude of reasons, but including the fact they make these chips that everybody needs, right?
Listen, our longstanding policy with Taiwan is, in my opinion, the right one, which is we absolutely oppose any unilateral effort to change the status quo. We support Taiwan's right to self-determination. And that is the posture the president's taken. And China said the things that it's always going to take, always says regarding Taiwan. But I think the most important thing we can do is just continue to build our strength, because peace through strength, our adversaries respect strength. And for the first time, listen, in decades, what President Trump has reestablished is deterrence. So when you watch what happened in Venezuela, when you watch what happened with Iran, when the American president now speaks and says, don't do that, I think the world looked differently than it did a few years ago under President Obama, because he's willing to follow through on what he says he's going to do.
What do you make of this torrent of Jew hatred and anti-Semitism and Israel hatred here? I mean, it's way, way out of the closet now.
Mark, I'm not Jewish. But what happened to me on October 7th was two recognitions. One, it was a surprise attack of such brutality, such viciousness, that I went soon after and walked through Kfar Aza and other places and saw firsthand what had happened. And you're dealing with barbarians, and a recognition you live 600 meters away from people who want to slit your throat in the middle of the night. and so really strengthen my support for Israel on eliminating that threat from Hamas and its a threat in the region. But the second surprise attack that happened soon after October 7th was this rise of anti-Semitism. I don't think even my Jewish friends, who we all know anti-Semitism lurk beneath the surface, but the degree, the ferocity of it, the viciousness of it on college campuses, University of Pennsylvania, University of Pittsburgh. A kid on my campaign who had a Jewish flag on his backpack and a McCormick hat got attacked walking across campus. I mean, these encampments on Penn's campus, it was, I walked through them. This was the most intimidating thing. So we have to recognize that this is truly pervasive. And it's not just on college campuses. A lot of that is pervasive and stimulated by outside groups, outside funding coming into the United States. But this is meant to really tear apart at the fabric of our country, and we shouldn't underestimate it in any way. And I think there's only one way to deal with it, which is to be brutally brutal back in stamping out the anti-Semitism. And you know, you and I talked about at the time. That's one of the reasons I think I was the first person to call for firing Liz McGill. And you know, you just can't tolerate ambiguity around this. You have to stamp it out everywhere you see it.
Tell us about the Unlock American Energy and Jobs Act.
This was a piece of legislation that I introduced 2 weeks ago. Listen, I mean, Pennsylvania and America are on fire in terms of energy dominance. You know, I visited a couple sites, tens of thousands of jobs, coal-fired plants being transitioned to gas-fired plants. I just this morning went to 3 Mile Island, which there's the reactor there is being restarted by Constellation Energy. It's going to put 845 megawatts on the grid for Pennsylvania.
Great.
So it's happening. It's incredible, Mark. But still to this day, it takes about 6 years to get a permit for a pipeline, for a new rig of some sort, for a new energy project. And what's happening is the environmental activists are using laws like the Clean Water Act, which there's a legitimate, we got to make sure we keep clean water, but they hijack the law and they litigate and they stretch it out so no reasonable business person could wait. We had 3 pipelines canceled in Pennsylvania since 2019. So what this legislation does, it's the most common sense thing. It says for your energy projects, you have to review them and approve them in a year. If you're going to approve it or disapprove, it has to happen in a year, not 5, 6 years. Once an approval is given, it can't be litigated. It's final. So if you're a business person and you go through the process and you start to invest your money, you can't have a Joe Biden or a new EPA overturn the decision that was made previously. And third, if you're going to disapprove a project, then you have to give a written justification of how that project violated the law. Those are the 3 basic premises. And if we could pass this, and I hope we can, it'll unlock $1.5 trillion that are sitting in the sidelines in America to invest in energy. I told President Trump, this is an energy policy, Mr. President. It's of course that. This is economic policy. This is going to stimulate so much activity. And it's already happening. This will accelerate it. I mean, I literally go to these job sites. We cannot in Pennsylvania get enough welders, electricians, steam fitters, pipe fitters. These are jobs where people make more than $100,000 a year. They've got opportunity as far as the eye can see. So AI is going to be incredibly disruptive, and we got to recognize that and deal with it. But there's a lot of people who build things that are going to have more work than they can take for many years to come.
Let me ask you a final thing. The Philadelphia shipyard, where my father worked, God bless his soul, when he was very, very young. They're bringing that back online, and then you got to train the people on how to build ships, right?
It's, Mark, first of all, what a tragedy. We have less than 1% of global shipmaking in America. That's how bad it's going. We just let this wither. Just stupid, dumb leadership over many decades. But the Koreans, Hanwha, bought the Philadelphia shipyard. And this is based, I give President Trump a lot of credit for his focus on shipbuilding. Because of that, They are in the process of investing $5 billion to start 5,000 new jobs. These are great jobs. It's going to go from 1 ship a year to 20 ships a year. And then we'll see if we can get more. They're looking at buying or building new dry docks. I mean, the Philadelphia port, that whole area, if you haven't been there lately, Mark, it's unbelievable. There's a cruise line there that just opened. There's the Philadelphia Shipyard. There's Rhodes, which is a submarine component manufacturer, which President Trump's doubled down on submarines. That whole part of Philadelphia, fantastic. And why Pennsylvania? Well, in part because of the great workforce, skilled workers like your dad, that are capable of building things. And that Philadelphia Shipyard is going to be it's a gem. It's coming on fire.
Well, it's a fascinating state. It's got so many different parts to it. Excuse me, geographies, backgrounds, and so forth and so on. And you're doing a fantastic job there, Dave. And we want to wish you and your wife all the best. And thank you for doing these things. And God bless you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Mr. Julie, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Amen. You too. You too. God bless. Guy's terrific. Absolutely. Look, I've been around politics and government a long time. He's very unique. And Pennsylvania is a very exciting state. It really is. Pennsylvania is a mirror into the rest of the country, except it's a little more blue collar than the rest of the country. It's got the highest per capita union membership of any state in the country, but then again, it's got a lot of blue collar workers who aren't necessarily union. It's got farm areas, agriculture areas, obviously several big cities and so forth. Just that I love Pennsylvania. It's where I'm from. I'm biased, but I really do. I love the state. The governor sucks. He's just terrible. He's a fake, a fraud, and a phony. And Fetterman's the kind of Democrat that should do well in Pennsylvania under the circumstances, because Pennsylvania is not a radical left state. It's just not. There are radical left elements to it, like in Philadelphia and a few places, but it's not a radical left state. The Democrats are very patriotic. Many of them are veterans. Many of them are blue-collar workers. Kind of people you need. Summertime expenses, well, they include things like camp, maybe a vacation, maybe saving and preparing for tuition. If you don't send your kids to government schools or you want to send them to college or university, be very careful about how you do that. And then you think to yourself, well, how am I going to pay for all this stuff? I've already got big debt, got a decent job, but, we got to live our lives here. What am I supposed to do? Well, you know what? American financing, it's almost as if they came into being just for you. Because at American financing, they look at your current debt. They show exactly how your home's equity can work smarter for you. You look at some of these very, very wealthy people. They don't really build things, but they know how to use money. Imagine rolling that high interest debt on your credit cards or wherever into one manageable monthly payment. And then you also have federal income tax deductions on top of that. There are no upfront fees, zero pressure from salary-based consultants. On average, their customers are saving $800 a month, $10,000 a year, 5 years, 10 years. That's a lot of money. And I want to encourage you, stop burning your money. These people can really help you. They work with my wife and me. They work with Mr. Producer and his wife. They work with my daughter and her husband. And we're much the better for it. Much the better for it. Start today. You may even be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, America's home for home loans. And these guys are great. Great ratings with the Better Business Bureau. They're just great, and they've been around for a while. So 888-900-1828. That's 888-900-1828. Now, they don't have your number. You have to call them. It's not ours. 888-900-1828 or visit AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 start at 6.327% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 888-900-1828 for details about credit costs and terms. Visit AmericanFinancing.net/market. Average savings based on borrowers who save over $199.99.
You're a little bit more on the show. Mac Magazine, money-saving discounts on travel and insurance, and a heck of a lot more. And get this, right now you can run for 5 years.
Well, I was just on Jan's panel, and there's Rusty up there. So there you go, Jan's Chicken Army. What a two-faced fucking bitch you turned out to be, Jan. Yeah, you're punk, JT, and your little fucking skanky girlfriend. Is that what you want? I'll talk about it. Fuck you, Rusty. I planned on cutting it short. I'm almost at my 2-hour mark. I'm going to leave here in about 5 minutes. I'm done for the night. About it, Jan. You want to come over here and talk to me? Huh? You guys are just so fucking dishonest. It's pathetic. JT running his mouth on your fucking panel there, Jan. Letting him show pictures and shit. He doesn't dare come here and face me like a man. He runs around and hides underneath you and Rusty and who else? Ms. Liz. Who else does he fucking hide under? What, you guys are on Discord? You bring all your garbage from Discord into these chats? I don't even fucking look at Discord. JC would sit there on her panel and be in Discord at the same time. One ministry is still preaching the uncompromised word of JT sitting there, how did Billy know about this channel? Duh. So JT didn't think I knew how to get there, did you, JT? Huh? You fucking dumb motherfucker. Explosive social media that's reaching the next generations where they live. How about it, JT? Solid Christian education programs. A website loaded with biblical truth, a daily e-devotion. Jan would turn me on if I restreamed her. She'd fucking turn me in for copyright and every fucking thing because you're chicken shit. Duh, how does Billy know about this channel? Duh. Now that's remarkable. You didn't think I knew about Jan's Chicken Army fucking channel when she's trolled me, been in here, involved me in her fucking bullshit. How about it, Rusty? Fuck you, Rusty. Can't stand you. Really can't stand you, Rusty. I wanted to at one time, but you're a fucking idiot. Mike said, Mark, but you're Jewish. That's right, I am.